Merci. Je veux commencer en envoyant mes condoléances aux proches de la capitaine Jennifer Casey et un propre rétablissement au capitaine Richard McDougall. Just want to send, first off, on behalf of all New Democrats, all of our condolences to the loved ones and family of Captain Jennifer Casey and our wishes for a speedy recovery for Captain Richard McDougall. There's a lot of discussions going on now about Parliament resuming. And on that topic, I want to say that New Democrats have been proud of the work that we've done to push this government to deliver more for people. We were able to push the government to expand the response beyond just an EI response to something like the CERB. And we've been pushing to make CERB bigger so that more people can get access to the help that they need. We've noted that students were missed. We pushed the government to include students. They missed seniors. We pushed to include seniors. We increased the amount from $1,000 to $2,000 and the wage subsidy from 10 to 75%. We've been able to push the government to make things better for people. And we want to do that throughout the summer, continue to do that. So those discussions are going to continue, and we will work hard to ensure that we're able to continue to deliver that help to Canadians and focusing on making sure people get the help they need. We know that the finance minister will be coming out later on today to talk about help for businesses. And I want to be clear that our focus needs to be with any help that's delivered, that help goes directly to workers. That help is focused on making sure workers are getting supports and that there's a connection to jobs. Any help to businesses must be tied with strings attached to jobs. We do not want to see a situation where money goes to companies without any strings attached, and it is not tied to maintaining, creating, or protecting jobs in Canada. And we certainly don't want to see money going to a company that is purposely hiding their money in an offshore tax haven to cheat the public of providing their fair share while people are falling through the cracks, while people are struggling. The wealthiest shouldn't be able to avoid paying their fair share. That's simply wrong. And so we want to make sure the government does that. And we know that we're going to continue to use the Parliament to push for certain things like paid sick leave. We know as provinces are opening up, I've said this before and I want it to be very clear, there should no longer be an option. Everybody should have and be entitled to at least 2 weeks of paid vacation or paid sick leave. Paid sick leave is so important in returning back to work. No one should have to make that difficult choice between going to work while they're sick or staying home and knowing that they're not getting paid sick leave, so they're not sure if they're going to be able to pay the bills. We need to make sure that paid sick leave is available. Businesses right now are going to have a hard time to deliver that, so we're calling on the government to either use the CERB or employment insurance to ensure that all Canadians have that paid sick leave. Donc, on a des discussions qui vont continuer aujourd'hui pour le Parlement et c'est quoi les détails du Parlement et comment ça va continuer pendant l'été. Ce qu'on peut dire qu'on a réussi à utiliser le Parlement pour avancer les enjeux pour les gens, pour avoir une meilleure réponse pendant cette pandémie pour aider des gens. On a augmenté le montant de $1,000 jusqu'à $2,000. On a forcé le gouvernement d'inclure les étudiants, d'avoir d'aide pour les personnes âgées. On va continuer d'utiliser le Parlement pour avancer les enjeux pour les gens. Par exemple, le ministre des Finances va parler de l'aide pour les entreprises. On veut s'assurer que l'aide aux entreprises est liée avec les emplois. Et deuxièmement, que les entreprises ne peuvent pas utiliser les paradis fiscaux pour cacher leur argent. Ce n'est pas acceptable. Donc, on va pousser le gouvernement. Et finalement, c'est tellement important quand on parle de réouvertement des provinces qu'on a un congé de maladie payé. Et on va continuer de pousser le gouvernement pour mettre en œuvre une façon de le faire fédérale avec la PCU, avec l'assurance emploi. Mais ce n'est pas un choix maintenant. Et c'est essentiel que tout le monde ait accès à un congé de maladie payé. And I'm ready for your questions after that.
Nous allons maintenant passer à la période de questions. On go to question period. We remind reporters to keep it one question, one follow-up, and we'll start on the phone with 3 questions. Operator, do we have a first question?
Thank you. Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. Veuillez s'il vous plaît appuyer sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. And the first question, la première question est de Hélène Buzetti du Devoir. À vous la parole.
Oui, bonjour, Monsieur Singh.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, j'aimerais revenir sur le retour du Parlement. Donc, on sait qu'il est supposé de revenir le 25. Il n'y aura pas d'appui unanime pour empêcher ça. Je me demande dans quelle mesure on va revoir le même scénario que le 20 avril parce que les conservateurs ne veulent pas reporter les travaux. Ils veulent qu'on reprenne des activités plus normales. Et contrairement à la dernière fois, le Bloc québécois non plus n'est pas prêt à appuyer le gouvernement, en tout cas pas aveuglément, pose des conditions. Bref, tous les regards se retournent vers vous. Quelle est votre position par rapport à ça? Voulez-vous qu'on continue le même rythme qu'actuellement ou êtes-vous prêt à revoir une reprise plus importante des travaux parlementaires?
Ah oui, donc maintenant on est dans les discussions. Donc je peux dire que pendant ces discussions, on a dit que on veut voir plus de pouvoir pour le Parlement, de faire le travail, d'avoir plus de transparence avec ce que le gouvernement fait. On veut voir c'est où exactement l'argent que le gouvernement dépense et est-ce que le dépensement d'argent est lié avec les emplois. Donc oui, on veut utiliser le Parlement plus comme normal, mais on veut toujours suivre les conseils des experts en matière de santé publique. Donc, il y a des discussions avec ce que l'Angleterre a fait, une version hybride avec quelques gens qui sont dans la chambre et les gens qui sont virtuels, mais les discussions continuent. Et effectivement, ce qu'on veut voir, c'est une occasion de continuer de faire le travail qu'on a fait où on toujours pousse le gouvernement pour faire mieux pour les gens et pour avoir une réponse qui reconnaître les temps difficiles pour les gens.
Alors, est-ce que vous pouvez être un petit peu plus précis quant à vos demandes spécifiques? Vous dites, oui, on veut avoir plus de temps au Parlement, plus de transparence, voir où l'argent va. Donc, spécifiquement, est-ce que vous avez fait une demande, par exemple, sur le nombre de jours qu'on devrait siéger en personne? Pouvez-vous juste me donner plus de détails, s'il vous plaît?
Maintenant, à cause du fait qu'on est dans les discussions et dans les négociations, je peux te donner les détails. On parle des détails spécifiques, mais en général, on veut voir plus de transparence. On veut voir un retour de travail plus normal, les pouvoirs du Parlement pour avoir plus de transparence du gouvernement dans ces sortes de critères généralement. Et aussi le fait qu'on va continuer de pousser le gouvernement de faire ce qu'il faut pour les gens. Ce sont les thèmes en général. Je sais que vous voulez voir plus de détails, mais à cause des négociations, c'est ce que je peux partager à ce moment.
Opératrice, prochaine question.
Merci. The next question, la prochaine question, est de Lina Dib de la Presse canadienne. À vous la parole.
Oui, bonjour, M. Singh.
Bonjour.
J'aimerais donc essayer de comprendre de façon spécifique lundi. Il va se déposer, on suppose, une motion pour que soit prolongée la suspension des travaux. Cette motion-là, les conservateurs, on sait qu'ils vont voter contre. Les bloquistes ont dit on votera pour à certaines conditions. Je comprends pas, vous allez faire quoi?
On est en train de discuter exactement les détails pour comment on va siéger pendant l'été. Et je peux dire qu'on veut voir plus de pouvoir pour les parlementaires, pour faire le travail de rendre le gouvernement plus transparent et pour savoir c'est où l'argent que le gouvernement dépense et est-ce que c'est lié avec les travails. Et aussi, on veut voir plus d'aide pour les gens en général. Et comme j'ai dit, un congé de maladie payé, ce sont les choses qu'on va voir et on est en train de discuter et j'espère qu'on peut trouver une façon d'aller de l'avant. Mais pour nous, la priorité, c'est toujours d'aider des gens, d'avoir plus une réponse qui reconnaît la difficulté que les gens font face à ce moment.
Oui, j'avais entendu déjà tout ça les deux premières fois. Mais est-ce que vous, lundi, vous seriez prêt à continuer à fonctionner comme ça on fonctionne maintenant? Ça veut dire 2 réunions virtuelles par semaine et 1 réunion en personne, en petit groupe le mercredi. Est-ce que vous êtes satisfait que vous pouvez obtenir plus pour les gens en continuant cette manière de fonctionner?
Pendant cette façon de fonctionner on a utilisé ce qu'on a comme des occasions et ça fonctionnait jusqu'à maintenant. Mais on pense qu'avec les programmes que le gouvernement a annoncés, avec les programmes de l'aide pour les entreprises, on a maintenant un plus grand besoin d'avoir plus de transparence. Donc ça, c'est pourquoi on milite pour plus de pouvoir pour faire ce travail. Donc, je voudrais partager plus les détails, mais on est en train de discuter exactement ces détails. Donc, ce que je peux dire, c'est on veut faire notre travail. Je pense que le propos d'un parlement hybride, c'est une bonne idée. On a vu que l'Angleterre l'a déjà fait. Donc, c'est un exemple on peut suivre. Mais c'est exactement ça. On va maintenant avoir plus de pouvoir pour faire le travail parce qu'il y a des plus grandes questions avec le grand montant d'argent. Et pour nous, c'est tellement important que l'argent est lié avec les emplois, est lié directement connecté aux travailleurs et travailleuses.
Opératrice, prochaine question.
Thank you. The next question, la prochaine question, is from Stephanie Levitz from the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Singh.
Good morning.
To follow up on what my colleagues are asking then, so for clarity,
Sure.
You would support a return to a hybrid parliament as opposed to this special COVID committee? Is that where your head is at?
Right. We're a couple of things. We want more powers so that we can do. It's very important to connect that. We want to make sure that money that's being put out by the government goes directly to workers. It is tied to jobs. It's tied to employment, and to do that, we need to get back to more of a normal operation of Parliament. The example of the UK is a hybrid system that seems to be working. It allows for space in Parliament. It allows for voices from around the country to be heard. And so there is a good reason to move to that type of hybrid form of Parliament where there would be the presence of parliamentarians as well as virtually as well as in person. That's something that I think is important. But really the overall goal for me and for New Democrats is to make sure we are able to hold the government to account so that any help that goes to a business is tied to jobs and as well does not go to a business that is using offshore tax havens to hide their money. While people are struggling, companies should not be able to hide their money so that they're not paying their fair share.
Do you feel you've been able to do that in the current circumstance? I mean, you alluded to some of the changes. You feel like you saw results from the NDP work. So maybe the current setup is in fact working.
Well, I think that up to now, we've been able to push the government to deliver better for people. But now with the type of programs that are coming out with the massive amounts of support for businesses, this is now where we're going to need more transparency from the government. We're going to need to follow the money to make sure money and support is going to companies that have conditions and strings attached to creating, maintaining, and protecting Canadian jobs. So I think there's a heightened responsibility, and that's why there's a greater need for transparency now.
We'll now go to question in the room. We'll ask reporters to make their way to the freestanding microphones.
Mr. Singh, Julie Van Dusen, CBC.
Hi there.
Considering your concern, obviously, for job loss, is Air Canada, the fact that 20,000 people are going to lose their jobs, is there anything else the government could have done? Because the current programs, obviously, even, a loan of $60 million when you're Air Canada just doesn't cut it. Do you have any ideas of what could have happened?
Well, one of the specific things for a company like Air Canada would have been a quicker delivery of something like the wage subsidy program. When it was first announced at 10%, we knew that it was far too little. I cited the examples of UK, Sweden, Denmark, who have all done 75% or higher, and that should have been done right away as a way to keep people connected to their jobs. And now we need to continue to do the same thing, that any help that we propose has to be tied to employment. What would be the point of giving help to a company if that company is not going to create jobs and employment in Canada? That really has to be the criteria.
And also you were talking about how important it is to follow the money. Is there a limit that you see as to how much money can go out the door, considering this pandemic could go on for quite some time? And could you just clarify in terms of Parliament, do you want more people sitting in Parliament? I need to know, right now it's about 32 when they sit, or roughly. How many more do you want? But if you could just first answer, is there a limit to how much money should go out the door and for how long?
Sure. That is a very, very important question for us to kind of wrap our heads around. I think right now in a crisis, there should be a focus and a priority on getting help to people. The help that we can get to people now is going to help us get out of this crisis. If we were not to give help to people, the cost of that would be far worse. So I think that's something we have to acknowledge. And there's going to be some folks that are going to be pushing back using debt and deficit as a reason not to give help to people. And I think the worst thing we could do right now is to cut services and to cut help that people need. In a crisis, to come out of it, we've seen in the past that we've seen governments do two things: either invest in people with better social programs or cut those programs that people need. And the cuts in austerity have resulted in worse outcomes. And when we invested in people with better healthcare and better supports, we've recovered quicker. And I think that's really important, that we don't go back to normal, we go forward to something better, and that's investing in people. There will be a cost to that, but the cost would be so much more if we didn't invest in people. And I think that's really important for us to look at. I would say where we draw the line is giving help to companies that are hiding their money. We don't give help to a company that's not going to contribute back to the public, that's cheating the public. We know that right now we're worried about revenue. The government should be focused on making sure we clamp down on offshore tax havens and other loopholes where billions of dollars are lost in revenue. That's where we should be putting our attention. And that's where we can recover money that we can invest in people. That would be my priority. And in terms of Parliament, the virtual hybrid, the physical virtual hybrid model that the UK is using doesn't mean that there's more people physically in Parliament. It just means that Parliament is able to function more as a normal Parliament function so that we can hold the government to account, have some more transparency. But there is a way to have virtual presence in the Chamber of Commons or in the House of Commons. And so in the chamber itself. So that virtual presence allows people who are not able to come to Parliament for good reason to keep the separation and to prevent the spread potentially of infection, but allows them to have that presence. So that's why I'm suggesting that UK model is something that we should be looking at. And there's been a release or a report by the speaker that we could do something very similar here in Canada, and I think that makes sense.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Rachel Haynes from CTV National News.
Hi.
You were just talking to Julie about Air Canada and how the wage subsidy should have gone out sooner to help them. But Air Canada was saying, even though that they had applied for the 75% wage subsidy, it wasn't helping them because their profits right now are so low because the industry is just not being used right now. So would you support perhaps other measures specifically for Air Canada and the airline industry, like a government bailout?
For specific industries that are specifically hit, I think we do need to take a different approach or a different look. So one of the examples is Air Canada, of course, is travel, but also we think about arts and culture, think about those who are involved in the live entertainment, those who are involved in festivals. We know that they're going to be the hardest hit because their industries have been forced to shut down, understandably, but they're going to be amongst the last to reopen. So there has to be a different approach to some of the people who are going to be most impacted. So the aviation industry is one, and the arts and culture, music, live entertainment is another, festivals. So we certainly need to look at some of the programs that were thought of as a short-term solution might now need to be extended to give more help and different sorts of supports for those who are impacted in a different way.
And just to go back to the hybrid model of Parliament, maybe to clarify a little bit, but also, would that mean that it would be every single riding would be represented either in person or virtually? Or would members of your caucus be left out from this process, let's say if they don't have great internet, but they're not able to come to Parliament either?
You touched a couple of things. I think one is the idea of internet infrastructure right now across Canada. It's been exposed during this pandemic that the problems that are there, and some parliamentarians have experienced that as well, living in rural communities. So that is an issue that we've long been saying we need to do far more to provide better connectivity around internet so that everyone has access to it. Our proposal is still in the works, but what UK is doing is allowing a rotation of MPs to come into Parliament virtually. And that way we make sure that everyone has access. The principle that we would want to operate on is that everyone or MPs are not limited from their access to representing their constituents, so that they're able to be in some way representing their people, the people that elected them. So that's the general principle is increasing access, not limiting access. And what UK has done is in that spirit of increasing access for those MPs who couldn't come physically in person, it allows them to still be present. So it's like what we're doing with the virtual session, completely online, but using a hybrid where we're still physical and virtual at the same time.
We have time for one more question on the phone. Operator, do we have another question?
Once again, please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. N'hésitez pas à appuyer sur étoile 1 si vous avez une question. There are no further questions at this time.
This concludes the press conference. Ceci met fin à la conférence de presse.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Merci. The conference has...
One question, one follow-up.